Hey there. Today I'm going to be demonstrating the UrbanFlix application that we have gone ahead and created for CS401 at CSU East Bay. This is project 3. So I've already uploaded a video showing how to go ahead and pull in a project from Android Studio. So if you want to be able to run this program yourself on your own emulator or on your phone, right now we're not hosted on the Google Play Store, so the only way to do this would be to go to the GitHub account that includes this entire repo, which I will go ahead and link in the description below. And if you're not sure how to import a project into Android Studio, I'll go ahead and also link the video tutorial that I've made to show you how to do that. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and demonstrate the actual application itself. The application was built here in Android Studio. Currently, I'm running on a Nexus 5X on API 28. So the basic idea of this application is that it's meant to imitate the user interface of Urban Dictionary, along with the sort of upvote, downvote features that are common on reddit.com, and allow users to create movie reviews without having to pull any kind of information from websites or from the internet that actually contains like real databases and movie reviews like the IMDb database does. So for our database, we used Google Firestore for our backend, which I can go ahead and pull up. You can see it here. So the Google Firestore, in our case, only has two collections, reviews and users, and those correspond to our two in-house classes, user and movie review. So the basic idea with the application is, when you first log in, you see a feed of just the most recent movie reviews, how many upvotes and downvotes they have, but you can't interact with these upvote, downvote buttons unless you actually have an account. So, but this does use a recycler view that lets you scroll through and see everything up to 50 until it refreshes more. So if we go over here and log in, for now, let's just say we don't have an account, so we'll go ahead and make one. I'll go ahead and try to make an account with some credentials that should already be stored. And so that's too many M's. And so this should deny my my account creation. So if I go ahead and hit create account, the username is already taken. I can go ahead and try to change the username to, I don't know. Let's change this to just throw it out an 8. But the email address is already in use, so if we try that, it'll give us that warning. So let's just go ahead and throw down some gibberish just so we have another email address in there. We'll go ahead and create an account. Right now, this will take you to your review page, which you will see is empty because we don't have any reviews yet. So we'll go ahead and go home. And now at this point, you see this floating action button has appeared. This allows you to now create reviews, and now you're able to actually interact with these upvote and downvote buttons. So if I go over here and upvote some of these, you can see that I've upvoted them here. These changes are being pushed dynamically to the database. I can go ahead and pull that up. So you see this Black Panther movie here on the right side. This review here corresponds to this review here in the app, and you can see that I have 3 upvotes, 0 downvotes. So if I go ahead and downvote this, you can see that this dynamically updates these things in the database. If I already have something downvoted, I can remove my downvote, and you can see now nothing is selected, and it has the base 2 upvotes that it had prior to my engagement with this feature. I can go ahead and also search for movies. So if I want to search for that Black Panther movie that I just found, it's still here, and you can see it still includes my local upvote, which it had from earlier. I can go ahead and remove that upvote, and then if I go home, you'll see indeed that that upvote is no longer there, which shows that these are being tracked in between independent activities. If I go ahead and create a review, this can be our first review. We'll call this for movie. Let's go ahead and say Jaws, which is, what do we want to say about Jaws? Deeper than I'd expected. And let's go ahead and throw down an emoji in there. This is very important to making the app work, by the way. That way, now we have a shark. There you go. Cool. And for the body, we'll just say, I enjoyed this movie. Let's keep it simple. So we go ahead and submit this review, and it's now added to the feed. You can see by default we have upvoted it, and it saves all this into user preferences. I can still go ahead and downvote this, and it will update the database as well. But for now, let's keep it upvoted. If I now go to my account, I'll have this pulled up recently from the review that I just made. I'll go ahead and log out. You can see that it's still here, but now again the buttons are no longer shown or no longer enabled. If I log in under a different user profile, let's say my original, this is just my basic one. I've made a bunch of reviews on this one. If I go ahead and log in, you see I haven't processed this vote, but you can see it still has my other votes saved from, when I was working on this account myself. So you can see that it is properly storing, upvotes and downvotes based on your login status. So every user is keeping track of their own upvotes and downvotes. I can log out and log back in, and it'll show me which things I personally have upvoted. That's essentially the entire functionality of the application as we have it. This follows our original use cases that we outlined in our original design document, which is nice. We have a home button here in case you don't want to have to backtrack through all the previous views on the activity stack. But hopefully you've enjoyed checking out the app. For the next couple minutes, I'll just really quickly go into the code. Feel free to stop watching if all you're interested in is seeing how the app itself functions from a GUI perspective. So the app itself is built upon several different activity classes. Each one of the activities that you saw in the app corresponds to an activity class. And additionally, there are a few other helper classes that are used. For example, the user class, movie review class. These are used for the purpose of pushing reviews up to the database. So the database itself takes Java objects. So when we want to push something to the Google Firestore, we, instantiate a new object, for a new movie review object, and we supply data to that object from the fields that the users provided, and then push that to the database. Additionally, all database operations have been consolidated into one place, this Firestore helper class. Firestore helper allows us to only have a single instance of a Firestore connection within the entire project. This Firestore helper we only have a single one of these objects instantiated in the main activity class, and it's defined as a public static field so that every other activity or class that needs to have access to the Firestore can do so via main activity single instantiation of a single one of these Firestore helper objects. And you can see that this Firestore class has all of the functionality that's needed to interface with the Firestore, except for one other class, which is the Firestore adapter. And this adapter is what allows us to populate our recycler views with data from the database. This is something that's already pre-built. It's provided from google.firebase.firestore, and it allows us to use basically their own integration tools. And we've went ahead and extended their Firestore adapter to particularly suit our needs with the movie review adapter. But because of that, this is one other class that does interface with the Firestore, but it's meant to do so, and none of these things will be shown from the graphical user interface. So these things are completely encapsulated from the user. Aside from that, everything else is pretty boilerplate. We use shared preferences to store a lot of local user data, such as credentials and upvote values. But anything that has to do with movie reviews themselves does push to the database. So hopefully you've enjoyed checking out our project, and thank you for watching.